Projectors can transform an ordinary wall into a cinematic, theater-sized screen, perfect for movie nights, sports, or just making everyday viewing feel bigger. Of course, they also come with their quirks, setup, lighting, and those inevitable cable tangles. In this video, we are going to break down 5 of the top contenders across different price ranges and styles, so by the end, you will know which one actually fits your room, your budget, and your patience for fiddling with cables in the dark.
We'll be going roughly from more budget options to high-end, and as always, we have links to the best deals in the description.
Let's start with the first projector on our list, the Optoma HD 146X.
Now this is a classic entry-level model that has stayed popular for good reason. It is a true 1080p projector with a very respectable brightness rating, so even if you have not completely blacked out your living room with heavy curtains, you can still enjoy a clear picture. The image quality is crisp, colors are surprisingly accurate for this price bracket, and it has a fast gaming mode with low input lag. Translation: you can watch your favorite films and then immediately switch to late night gaming without feeling like you are playing through molasses.
Of course, at this price, you are not getting all the bells and whistles. There is just one HDMI port. The built-in speaker is not going to impress anyone, and because it uses a traditional lamp, you will eventually need to replace it after a few thousand hours, but those trade-offs are what make it so affordable in the first place. Think of the HD 146X as the gateway drug to home theater. It is bright, it is reliable, it does not demand a perfectly dark cave to look good, and it keeps your budget intact. If you are dipping your toes into projectors for the first time, this is a very solid starting point. Now let's shift gears from a traditional budget projector to something that feels more like a portable gadget. The LG Cinebeam PE 510Q is tiny, about the size of a lunchbox if you still remember what those look like, and yet it punches above its weight in convenience. Unlike the Optoma, which is happiest sitting in one place, the PF510Q is built to move around. It runs on an LED light source rated for tens of thousands of hours, so you will probably replace your couch before you ever replace the bulb. It has built-in smart TV features through LG's Webos system, meaning you can stream Netflix or Disney Plus directly without juggling extra boxes. And it can even pair with Bluetooth speakers or headphones, so if you want a low-clutter setup for a backyard movie night, this is about as plug and play as it gets. Now here's the trade-off. Brightness. At just a few hundred lumens, it is not going to stand up to daylight or even a room with lots of lamps turned on. This is a projector that really needs a dark environment, and it is happiest at screen sizes closer to 70 or 80 inches rather than a massive 120. In other words, it is less about recreating a full theater and more about making a Netflix binge feel a little more cinematic. Still, for students, apartment dwellers, or anyone who wants to casually project a big screen without spending a fortune or rearranging their living room, the LG Cinebeam PF510Q is a charming little option. It is proof that not every home theater projector has to be a hulking piece of gear anchored in your ceiling. Next up is the ViewSonic PA503 HD, and this one is a bit of a curveball. Technically, it is marketed more as a presentation projector, the kind you might find in a classroom or office, but that is exactly what makes it interesting for home use. Here's the appeal. Brightness. The PA503 HD is rated for around 4,000 lumens, which is a huge jump compared to most budget home projectors. What that means in real life is that you can fire this thing up in a living room during the day with the blinds open and still see a watchable picture. For sports fans who want to host game day without shutting everyone into a cave, that level of brightness is gold. Now, in terms of picture quality, it delivers a clean 1080p image. It is sharp and perfectly serviceable for movies, but this is where the trade-off comes in. Because it is designed for multi-purpose use, color accuracy and contrast are not tuned for the cinematic experience. Blacks look more dark gray than inky, and if you dim all the lights, you will notice that it lacks the richness of something like the Epson or BenQ models we will get to later. But again, it all comes down to the room. If you have a multi-purpose space where people are in and out, lights are on, and you do not want to baby your setup, the ViewSonic is reliable, tough, and bright enough to cut through the chaos. Think of it less as a projector for purists and more as the workhorse you roll out for parties, sports nights, and family movie marathons without worrying too much about ambient light. Now, if the ViewSonic is the workhorse, the BenQ TK 710 STE is more like the sports car. This is a short throw 4K projector that can blast a 100-inch image from just a few feet away. For anyone living in an apartment or smaller room where you cannot dedicate 15 feet of throw distance, that is a game changer. The TK710 STI uses a laser light source which not only keeps brightness high, but also means you will not be swapping out bulbs every few years. At over 3,000 lumens, it holds up well, even with some lights on, and because it is genuinely pushing a sharp 4K image, movies look crisp and detailed. Colors lean accurate, and motion is smooth enough that even fast-paced sports or action games feel natural. Speaking of games, BenQ clearly designed this with gamers in mind. It offers low input lag, so if you connect a console or a gaming PC, it responds quickly without the sluggish feel older projectors sometimes had. That combination, short throw, bright laser light, true 4K, and gaming responsiveness makes it one of the most versatile projectors in its class. The catch? Placement can be a little finicky. With no lens shift, you need to be precise about where you set it up, and depending on your room, that might take a bit of trial and error. Also, it is not the cheapest option out there, but it earns its price by delivering a premium theater-like image in a space where bigger, long-throw projectors simply would not work. So if you want to maximize a small room, or you are building a setup around both movies and gaming, the BenQ TK710 STI is the sleek, modern solution that makes you wonder why you ever tolerated a 50-inch television. And finally, we arrive at the heavyweight of the group, the Epson Home Cinema LS 11000. If the Optima was the gateway drug and the BenQ was the sports car, this Epson is the luxury cruiser designed for people who want to build a real home theater, not just dabble with projection. The LS 11000 uses Epson's laser-powered 3 LCD technology, which means rich colors, consistent brightness, and no rainbow effect that some single-chip projectors struggle with. It delivers a gorgeous 4K image through Epson's pixel shifting system, and in a properly dark room, the contrast and detail are stunning. Deep blacks, nuanced shadows, and smooth gradations. It is the kind of image that makes you want to rewatch your entire movie collection just to see what you missed on a smaller screen. It is not only about picture quality though. Epson gives you full motorized lens controls, including zoom, focus, and generous lens shift. That makes setup a lot more forgiving. You do not need to balance it on a stack of books just to hit the screen straight. And for anyone with a next-gen console or gaming PC, it supports 4K at 120 Hz. So yes, you can play your fast-paced games on a massive screen without turning them into a slideshow. Of course, this level of performance does not come cheap. It is by far the priciest projector in this roundup, and it really only shines in a dedicated space where you can control the light. If you try to plop it into a bright living room, you are wasting what makes it special. But for cinephiles and serious enthusiasts, the LS 11000 is the crown jewel, a projector that brings a true theater experience into your home, complete with the flexibility and polish you would expect at this level. It is not for everyone, but for those who want the best, it is a hard one to top. That wraps up our look at the top home theater projectors of 2025. Hopefully this helped you figure out which one actually fits your space and your style. If it did, do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you do not miss the next review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.